Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today is the start of the new Capenna Championship. It is a weekend tournament that you have to qualify through either previous big tournaments, PTQ qualifiers, Mythic Invitational qualifiers, making it past day 2. It is $450,000 prize pool up for grabs and is some of the highest level professional Magic that's going on right now. So we're going to take a look at, after day 1, what are the 3-0 standard deck lists. And really what we want to do is just kind of highlight some of the new decks that have come out this weekend. So as you'll expect, the meta was pretty dominated by Esper Midrange. We saw a number of decks here, and we're getting this information from MTG Melee. It's the kind of tournament organizer site. So I'm not going to really highlight like Jeskai Storm, which is like the Izzet Storm deck that uses Goldspan Dragon or Esper Midrange or Nia Runes. Those are decks you should expect them in tournaments. Jeskai Hinata, same idea. I want to kind of highlight some of the decks that went 3-0 as well, that are kind of out of the norm. And kind of jumping right into it, I'll put all these deck lists. You can import them easily. I'll post the main homepage. It's a split format, so day 1 is 3 matches of standard, 3 matches of historic. They'll do the same the following day, and I believe the finals, the top 8 is standard. Historic's been pretty boring, to be honest. It's like mainly Phoenix versus Food versus Auras. So probably not going to do much. We'll see how the results come out later tonight. But kind of this deck that's jumped out the most and the kind of cool one that I saw, even just in action, is Grix's Vampires. So a team of like Gabriel Nassif, LSV, Kai Bodai, as well as others have brought a Grixis Vampires deck to the tournament, and it is kind of built around, I'm going to actually try going this view here, just so it's a little bit easier. So we have cards like Evelyn the Covetous, so kind of a card draw, kind of card advantage engine at flash speed, gets around Vanishing Verse, triggers off each vampire you cast, which there's a lot in the deck, helps you grind in those like Esper matchups where the removal is just not as effective coming down against the Evelyn. You get access to Blood Tithe Harvester. Corpse Appraiser is a card that overall is pretty good stats. So it's a 3/3 for 3, it enters the battlefield, you exile up to one other creature card, get rid of your opponent's Tenacious Underdog, stuff like that. And then it basically provides card advantage. You get to look at the top 3, put one in your hand, rest into the graveyard. So kind of like all your cards kind of 2 for 1. So you have like Blood Tithe Harvester, gets you a blood token, can be used as removal. Corpse Appraiser gets you card advantage. Putting stuff in the graveyard, you have Bloodthirsty Adversary to flash back, like with Snapcaster Mage style effects. Tenacious Underdog comes out of the graveyard. Not a vampire, but you get some value. Kaido kind of fills that role of looting, card advantage, ninjas, stuff like that. This is a Fable the Mirror Breaker deck, because this card is busted. Basically, every mode's relevant. Make copies of your ETB creatures as well to get even more value. Some meat hooks. We're seeing some copies of Soul Transfer in the main and sideboard. Basically trying to, using as removal, but also just like a rebuy as well. Interesting, just the one of expressive iteration in these lists. Kind of playing at that. Some Voltage Surge, Fertile Grasp, an ode to the expectation of a lot of powerful white cards with Ray of Enfeeblement in the main, Spell Pierce main, and then just like a null for the Enchantments deck, the Nia Runes. Then you just got a bunch of either removal, stuff along those lines as well. So a few folks have 3-0'd with this or doing well with this Grixis Vampires list. The next deck, which has been putting up a lot of results, there's quite a few folks with 3-0 with this like Teamer control deck. If we look, Teamer, kind of all mixed in, Teamer. I think in total there's 6 people who 3-0'd. So it's basically like an Izzet deck, splash, and splash is a light word, green for Titan of Industry. At the top end, you have a lot of treasure enablers in Goldspan Dragon, Galaceth Prismari. Burn Down the House, notably, does not kill your Titan of Industry. Again, this view is not the best, the quality. Titan of Industry being a lot bigger than the Burn Down the House. Expressive Iteration deck, make copies of like your top end with the Fable the Mirror Breaker. Just a lot of disruption in here. You get access to counter spells. Post board, you get Coma, Uncounterable Threat, Hullbreaker Horror, Uncounterable Threat, so you can kind of just shift off the Titan plan against like the Esper decks and just go into these big beaters at instant speed or just like hard to kill. You got some Chariots for the grindier matchups as well, so a lot of interesting cards in this deck if you enjoy the Teamer colors. Then we got Nia Reanimator. This is a deck that's looking to kind of self-mill yourself with like various looting effects, big score, unexpected windfall, seize the spoils. You want to put into your graveyard either Velomachus Lorehold or Titan of Industry, which you buy back with Invoke Justice. That powers it up and lets you cast like Miria's Calls for free, burn down the houses, or kind of just keep looting with those effects. Then it's got like a Planeswalker package in more of the grindier matchups, Arlen getting around. A big theme is like what gold cards can get around Vanishing Verse, and then even in like those Esper matchups, you have Fleetfoot Dancer with the Trample that just gets around a lot of like the token style decks. Moving on, we got a Nia Midrange deck. So not Ruins, not like the Reanimator. This is kind of more honest midrange kind of strategy. Galagreeters gets you ahead on mana, works nicely with Wedding Announcement or Chariot. Luminarch Aspirants, Fables mixed in there. Top end of War Chief, Sanctuary Warden, got some Emperors in there. Voltage Surge, just a scalable. You make a lot of treasures in this deck with like Galagreeters, Fable kind of mixed in there. So an interesting deck. You got like Amiria, Archon of Amiria for like the Runes matchup. Legion Angel package mixed in, so another interesting kind of style deck mixed in. And then lastly, we have Jund Midrange, another kind of cool deck. So not quite Jund Treasures per se. You got Briarbridge Trackers, Midrange Threat, Bloodtithe Harvester. Notably, in this one here, you have no copies of Omnixless. They're using Chariots and then Valky, but just kind of more of a mid-range strategy. Lolth and Ren to grind card advantage. Rivetier's Charm in here. All modes can be relevant. It gets rid of like a gold spend without targeting. Stuff like that. You have Unleash the Inferno as well, which is really good against Ruins. You can kill their creature and then blow up another enchantment. Just kind of scalable multi-removal spell built into one. And then just like a lot of useful kind of effects, one-ofs in the sideboard. We're seeing a lot of decks that play black are running the full set within the 75 of Raven Feeblement. So that's pretty much it with some of the standout decks. There's like an Is It Mill deck, which is really just a Tasha's Hideous Laughter deck. And like I said, like you got your Esper mid-ranges, your Jeskai Storms, the expected decks to kind of show up, your Nia Ruins. Someone managed to 3-0 with a Kami War deck, so kudos to them. But just kind of showing up some of the decks for Standard that are new that you might want to check out after the first couple rounds of the set championship. If you do enjoy this type of content in terms of decks kind of that do well each week, meta selection, stuff like that, we do it for every single arena format based on the ladder, thanks to Untapped GG. I put out those videos for each format weekly, so you can kind of tune in to the formats you like, kind of see where the trends are, the new hotness, the new decks that are taking Mythic by storm, and you can kind of follow along there. So if you like this type of content, definitely subscribe to the channel so you get to know when each of those videos goes live. In any case, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope you have a great one and stay safe out there.